Class acid, bases and salt. The previous session we studied about acid, bases. Let us revise completely about the acid, bases and salts. Okay. So before we study about acid, bases and salt, let us know something basics about what are acids and what are bases and salt. So what are acids actually? Acids are the one. When I write about acids, what are acids? Acids are the substances which contains H plus ions. They have H plus ions, okay, and they convert blue litmus to red. They convert blue litmus to red. So this is what we studied in our lower classes also. We used to say acids, they contains H plus ions, they convert blue litmus to red litmus, and they are also sour in taste. This is what we studied in the lower classes also. Okay. So what are the examples of acids that which we find in our daily life? Can you name some examples? Yes, tomatoes, okay, oranges, tamarind, tomatoes, oranges, tamarind, okay. All these some of the examples of acids which we find in our daily life. So which acid is present? So the acid which is present in oranges is, what type of acid is present in the oranges? Yes, it is citric acid. Okay, you can find citric acid in lemon also, right? The acid which is present in tamarind, tartaric acid. Okay, you find oxalic acid in tomatoes, okay, and you find acetic acid in vinegar. So these are some of the acids which we find in our daily life. In the same way, what are bases then? So we said acids, they contain H plus ions and they convert blue litmus to red. Okay, now what are bases? Bases are the one which contains OH minus ions in them and they convert red litmus to blue and they are soapy to touch. Okay, so these are called as bases. What are the bases that you find in a daily life? Yeah, our window cleaners, okay, ammonium hydroxide is present in it, soap and detergent, okay. Example, those are the examples of bases that we find in our daily life. So this is what the basics that we find. So what is salt? The combination of acid plus base will give you a salt. So in this class we are going to study in detail about the properties of acids, properties of bases and about properties of salts and compounds which are prepared from salts and their uses. So let us start our chapter about acid, bases and salt. Let us start our topic of acid, bases, salt with an indicators. So what are indicators? Indicators are the substances which are used to know, the nature of substance, that is acidic or a basic, right? Those substances we call as indicators. Okay, so we have two types of indicators. Okay, one is natural indicator, second one is artificial indicator. Okay, so it is also called as synthetic or man-made indicators. So what are natural indicators and artificial indicators, and how do we find the nature of substance as acidic or a basic? Let us try to know about it. So what are natural indicators? We have a natural indicators like a red cabbage, okay, lemon juice, turmeric, okay. So colors of petals, that is flowers, okay. So all these are the examples of natural indicators. By changing color we can identify whether the given substance is acidic or a basic. In the same way, artificial indicators are the man-made one. We have two types of artificial indicators. One we call color change indicators, right? They changes their color like methyl orange and a phenolphthalein indicator. So methyl orange and phenolphthalein, like, and one more one we have olfactory indicators. Okay, so what are olfactory indicators? We'll discuss after this. So how do we identify the nature of substance with the help of these indicators like methyl orange and phenolphthalein? Let us try to find out here. For example, let us collect few acids from our laboratory. Okay, so let us collect some acids like HCl, H2SO4 and bases like NaOH and KOH. Okay, we'll take methyl orange and phenolphthalein. How do we identify the nature of substance? So this is how do we identify the change in color. With the help of these methyl orange and phenolphthalein indicator, these are artificial indicators, we can know the nature of substance as acidic or basic. There is a change in color. So here I have put down some examples. I have taken HCl and H2SO4 acids, NaOH and KOH as base. When methyl orange solution is added to the HCl and H2SO4, they changes red in color. Okay, when phenolphthalein is added to the acids, they changes to colorless. When methyl orange is added to bases, it becomes yellow. When phenolphthalein is added to bases, it becomes pink. So by change in color, we can identify the nature of substance as acidic or a basic. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Now let us discuss one more. I said you artificial indicators are of two types. One is color change indicators and another one is olfactory indicator. So what is olfactory indicator? Okay, these are the indicators, right, which are used to know the nature of substance as acidic or basic by change in smell. When we add these acids or when phenolphthalein, like when olfactory indicators, okay, such as onion, clove oil, okay, and vanilla essence, when these are added to the particular acidic or basic solution, there will be change in smell. Okay, if they changes their smell in acidic or basic medium, those type of indicators we call it as olfactory indicators. These are the examples of olfactory indicators. So with the help of these indicators, we can identify the nature of substances acidic or a basic. So one more one we have, okay, color change indicator like litmus paper. How do we identify with the help of litmus paper? Right, we have two litmus paper which we generally use, red and blue. Right, is basic. Red litmus changes to blue in color. When solution is acidic, blue litmus paper changes to red in color. Okay, if red litmus paper is turning into blue, then we call it as basic substance. If blue litmus changes to red, we call it as acidic substance. Okay, so these are about indicators. How do we identify the nature of substances as acidic or a basic? So it is important one. Please practice your activity 1, okay, to know about nature of substances that are indicators. Okay, now let us move into very interesting concept, very important one in the acid, bases and salt, the properties of acids, bases and salt. Hope this concept is clear. Okay children, let us move to the next, chemical properties of acids and bases. Okay, let us start with the first point, reaction of acid with metal. See, all these reactions are very important. आपके एग्जाम्स में एक्टिविटी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज के, which are very important. Okay, please try to understand this. So our first chemical property we are going to study is reaction of acid with metal. Okay, so what happens? I'll take an acid HCl, I'll react with a metal called zinc. So when acid reacts with metal, it releases hydrogen gas and forms a salt called zinc chloride. Okay, The remaining part of an acid reacts with the metal and forms a salt called zinc chloride and releases a gas called hydrogen gas. That is the first chemical property. Okay, how do we test the presence of gas hydrogen? Right, with the help of flame test. That is, you bring a burning candle near the mouth of the test tube in which hydrogen gas is collected. If it burns with a pop sound, okay, or it puts off by making pop sound, then it shows the gas is hydrogen gas. So all metals, when they react with acid, they give you hydrogen gas. Okay, now the next chemical property, reaction of base with metal. Now here nearly all acids, सब acids metal के साथ react करेंगे और आपको hydrogen gas मिलेगा. Right, now the question, do bases also reacts with metal? Yes, but not all metal reacts with the bases to release hydrogen gas. I'll take an example here. Base NaOH, when they reacts with zinc, it forms sodium zincate. It forms sodium zincate. Now the question comes, do all bases reacts with metal? All bases, they do not react with metal. Okay, only few metals. Now let us take an example. I'll take a base NaOH. I'll react with a metal called zinc. It gives you sodium zincate, along with that hydrogen gas is released. It is called sodium zincate. All metals do not react with the base to give hydrogen gas. That is important point, you need to note it down. Okay, simultaneously notes पे note down कीजिएगा, it will be easy for you all, right? So first chemical property is reaction of acid with metal. So what will happen when acid reacts with metal? Gives you hydrogen gas. So these are the first chemical property of acids and bases. Now let us move into the next chemical property, reaction of acid with carbonates and हाइड्रोजन कार्बोनेट्स. क्या होगा जब एसिड कार्बोनेट्स और हाइड्रोजन कार्बोनेट के साथ रिएक्ट करते हैं, राइट? सो व्हेन एसिड्स दे रिएक्ट्स विद कार्बोनेट्स एंड हाइड्रोजन कार्बोनेट्स, दे रिलीजेस अ गैस कॉल्ड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एक्टिविटी, राइट? इसका रिलेटेड एक्टिविटी प्रैक्टिस कीजिएगा, ठीक है? नाउ एसिड्स व्हेन रिएक्ट्स विद कार्बोनेट्स, मेटल कार्बोनेट्स, okay, they give you salt, water and a gas called carbon dioxide gas is released when acid reacts with carbonates. So how do we test the presence of gas carbon dioxide? Pass the gas into a lime water. Pass the gas into a lime water. Okay, what happens if this lime water turns into milky white? Okay, white PPT. If it forms white PPT, then it shows that the gas is nothing but carbon dioxide is released. Okay, so I'll put down with an example here. Acid HCl, when it reacts with carbonates, metal carbonates, Na2CO3, right, it gives you NaCl, salt, water plus carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so there are balancing chemical equation. Clear for everyone? Okay, now this is what the reaction of acid with carbonates. Now what happens when acid reacts with metal hydrogen carbonates? When acid reacts with metal hydrogen carbonates, when acid reacts with metal hydrogen carbonates, what will happen? Yes, the same compound, salt plus water plus carbon dioxide. Okay, chemical equation I'll put down here. HCl when reacts with metal hydrogen carbonates, metal hydrogen carbonate, it give you salt called sodium chloride, water plus carbon dioxide. As I said you, how do we test the presence of gas? Pass that gas through a lime water. It's a lime water, right? If it turns into milky white, it gives you, it shows that a gas called carbon dioxide is released when acid reacts with carbonates and metal hydrogen carbonates. Okay, hope is this clear? Now let us move to the next chemical property of acids and base. We have seen reaction of acid with metal, reaction of acids with carbonates and metal carbonates, reaction of base with metal. Now what will happen when acid reacts with base or base reacts with acid? Acid plus base, what will happen? So when acid reacts with base, it gives you salt plus water. Such reaction we called neutralization reaction. Okay, so when acid reacts with the base, we get a compound called salt and water. Okay, let us try to put down an example here. I'll take a base, an acid HCl. When reacts with base NaOH, we get you a salt called NaCl plus water. Okay, any acid and base, they give you salt and water. Such reactions we call neutralization reaction. This is the other property of acids and bases. Okay, is it clear? This reaction is called what? Neutralization reaction. The next reaction is reaction of acid with metal oxide. It is important one. Okay, so what type of question could be asked regarding this one? They'll ask you to conclude, give your conclusion or give a reason when acid reacts with metal oxides. Okay, so children, let us discuss here. I'll take an example of acid when reacts with metal oxides. What will happen? What do we get? When acid reacts with metal oxides, we get salt plus water. Now hope this is similar to which reaction? Our neutralization reaction, right? So if acid are reacting with metal oxide, they are giving you salt and water, means these metal oxides should be basic in nature. So we can conclude that metal oxides are basic in nature. When they react with acid, they give you salt and water, which is similar to our neutralization reaction. Let us try to understand with an example. I'll take an acid called HCl, hydrochloric acid, when reacts with metal oxide called copper oxide. Color of copper oxide, we all know it is black in color, right? When it is dissolved in an acid or when it is made to react with acid, copper oxide completely get dissolved in the hydrochloric acid and it gives you copper chloride, a bluish green colored compound, which is nothing but a salt and water is formed. Such a reaction we call it as, okay, similar. It is similar to our neutralization reaction. So what is happening here? Acids, when they are reacting with metal oxide, giving you salt and water, means metal oxides are basic in nature. It is an important point you have to remember. If metal oxides are basic in nature, what about non-metal oxides, students? Yes, they will be acidic in nature. Now let us try to learn that property. So what will happen when base reacts with non-metal oxides? Reaction of base with non-metal oxides, right? So here we have studied a similar reaction in the activity where acid reacts with carbonates. So here I taken non-metal oxide carbon dioxide. When it reacts with, okay, base, I'll take CaOH taken twice calcium hydroxide. What will happen? We'll get a salt CaCO3, right, plus water. So here what's our conclusion? We conclude that non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. It's acidic in nature. It is our base substance. When they are reacting, giving you salt and water, again it is similar to our neutralization reactions. Hope it is very clear. Okay, so what are the chemical properties we studied? First one is reaction of acid with metal gives you salt and hydrogen gas. Reaction of acid with carbonates and metal carbonates, metal hydrogen carbonates, gives you carbon dioxide gas. Along with that, salt and water are formed. Reaction of acid with base gives you salt and water. We call it as neutralization reaction. Reaction of acid with metal oxides give you salt and water, which is similar to our neutralization reaction. And we concluded that all metal oxides are basic in nature. Reaction of base with non-metal oxides. So non-metal oxides are acidic in nature, right? When they react with base, we give you salt and water, which is also similar to our neutralization reactions. Okay, so these are some of the chemical properties of acids and bases. Okay, so what do these acids and bases they have common then? Let us try to learn what acids and bases they have common, and how do we decide the strength of acids and bases. Studied about chemical properties of acids and bases. Okay, as we discussed now, what do these acids and bases they have common? Okay, so you have to see, I'll put on some acids. You can very easily able to say an acid HCl, it dissociates into H plus and Cl minus. An acid H2SO4 dissociates into H plus and SO4 2 minus. HNO3, H plus, NO3 minus. H2CO3, H plus, CO3 2 minus. Now you should be able to give me an answer. What do acids have common? All the acids they have H plus ions in common. Okay, so we can say that all acids have H plus ions in common. Now question comes, do acid releases H plus ions in aqueous solution or not? It's an important activity. Yes. When do these, now question comes, when do these acids releases H plus ions? Acids releases H plus ions in presence of aqueous solution. Okay, for example, I'll take an HCl, right? When I react with water, it releases H plus ion, right? Now this H plus ions, it does not remain as H plus, right? It is unstable one. This H plus ion combines with the water molecule. Okay, it combines with the water and forms H3O plus ion. Means the hydrogen ions which are released from the acid in presence of aqueous solution, right? They are present in the form of H3O plus ion. Okay, what are these H3O plus ions are called? Hydronium ion, right? So इसके related आपको दो activities है, very important one, activity 7 and 8. Activity 7 will tell you that do acids conduct electricity, and activity 8 says you that do acid produces H plus ions in aqueous solution. Please go through those activities. Okay, so what do acids have in common? H plus ions. And when do these acids releases H plus ions? In aqueous solution, and they are present as hydronium ion. Now if acids they have H plus ions in common, what do bases have then? What will happen when bases are dissolved in water? Okay, for example, I'll take some example student here. I'll take a base NaOH. When they are dissolved in water, what will happen? Right? So NaOH, when it is dissolved in water, what will happen? Right? It releases Na plus and OH minus. It dissociates into Na plus and OH minus. KOH, in presence of water, it dissociates into K plus and OH minus. MgOH taken twice, magnesium hydroxide, when it is mixed with water, it dissociates into Mg2 plus and OH minus. Means all the bases they have OH minus ions in common. Any base which is dissolved in water, we call it as alkaline. We call it as alkaline solution. Okay, is it clear, children? So what do acids and bases have in common? Acids have H plus ions in common and bases have OH minus ions in common. Now how do we identify? Now the strength of acids and bases, we have different types of acids and bases. We have strong acid, weak acid, we have strong base and weak base. How do we identify the nature of substances? That is, which is strong acid, which is weak acid. So strength of acids and bases can be known with the presence of H plus and OH minus ions. Strength of acids and bases. Strength of acids and bases can be known the presence of H plus and OH minus ions in a solution. Right? A acid is said to be a strong acid right, which contains more number of H plus ions in a solution, those acids are called strong acids. More number of H plus ions in a solution, we call it as what? Strong acid. HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, all these are strong acids, right? Less number of H plus ions in a solution, we call it as weak acid. Example, acetic acid, CH3COOH. It's a weak acid. So how do we are deciding the strength of an acid? Based on the presence of H plus ions. If more number of H plus ions are present, it's a strong acid. Less number of H plus ions are present, called weak acid. In the same way, we decide the strength of bases based on the presence of OH minus ions. More number of OH minus ions in a solution, then we call it as strong base, right? NaOH, KOH, etc. Right? So when should we call it as a base as weak base? If it have less number of OH minus ions in a solution. Right? So example, ammonium hydroxide. It's an example of weak base. So this is the concept. How do we generally find, right? How do we decide the acid as strong acid and base as strong base and weak base? Okay, hope this concept is very clear for you all. Okay, so this is how do we identify the strength of acids and bases. If it have more number of H plus ions, strong acid, less number of H plus ions, weak acid. More number of OH minus ions, strong base, less number of OH minus ions, weak base. So how do we decide the relative strength of these acids and bases? Presence of the ions H plus and OH minus. So to find this, whether the given solution is acidic, strongly acidic or weakly acidic, strongly basic or weakly basic, we use an indicator called universal indicator. So this is an indicator, combination of different types of indicators, we call it as universal indicator. With the help of this universal indicator, we can know the relative strength of acids and bases. Now let us study about the next part of this chapter. So we studied in the last about universal indicator, and I said that universal indicator is a combination of different types of indicators which is used to know the relative strength of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions, that is H plus and OH minus ions in a solution. One among that we use is pH scale. It is a scale which is used to measure the nature of acids and bases, that is relative strength of acids and bases. So pH scale, it have certain values 0 to 14. If pH scale value is equal to 7, then we call it as neutral solution. If any solution the given value less than 7, we call it as acidic. Greater than 7 if pH value, it is basic. Okay, so this is about what we saw. So the pH scale is given by Sorensen. So he is the one who introduced this pH scale. So pH scale have certain values from 0 to 14. If pH scale value is equal to 7, then the solution is neutral. If it is less than 7, it is acidic. If it is greater than 7, it is basic. So with the help of pH scale, we can find out the relative strength of acids. So you have to remember that. आपको एक याद रखना है, अगर pH का वैल्यू बढ़ रहा है किसी सॉल्यूशन का, तो इसका मतलब ये है, यानी 0 से लेकर 14 तक pH वैल्यू का नंबर्स होते हैं. अगर pH वैल्यू का नंबर अगर बढ़ रहा है, इसका मतलब ये है कि हाइड्रोजन आयन्स कम होके हाइड्रोक्साइड आयन्स ज्यादा हो रहे हैं. अब मैं दो वैल्यू कंपेयर करता हूं, वैल्यू 3 एंड वैल्यू 8. इफ आई कंपेयर वैल्यू 3 7 से नीचे है तो ये एसिडिक है सॉल्यूशन, और वैल्यू 8 ये 7 से ऊपर है तो ये बेसिक है. इसका मतलब ये है कि 8 नंबर जो बता रहा है आपको पीएच स्केल में, इसका मतलब ये है कि यहाँ पर OH माइनस आयन ज्यादा है, हाइड्रोजन आयन्स कम है. Right, so that is what we can know with the help of pH scale. Okay, so now the next topic is the importance of pH in our everyday life. So pH का भी अपने everyday life में बहुत important role play करता है. So this is what the first one is acid rain. So आप लोग, you might have heard about acid rain, right? So if the pH value of acid rain, if it is less than 5.6, if pH value is less than 5.6, we call it as an acid rain. So when such a water, when flows into the water, what happens? So it becomes difficulty for the aquatic organisms, that is plants and animals, to survive. So it further lowers the pH of water. That's the effect of acid rain. The second is tooth decay. When the pH is less than 5.5, when it is lower than 5.5 in our mouth, it leads to tooth decay. Generally what happens when we have a food, the food gets stuck in between our teeth. So the microorganisms called bacteria, which is present in our mouth, right? So it degenerates the food substances and releases an acid. Okay, to overcome this, what do we generally do after having our food? We wash our mouth with water. Or what do we do generally on the early morning? We'll go for a brush. So by using toothpaste, we can neutralize the acidic condition of our mouth. The next effect is digestive system. So we all know in our digestive system, in a stomach, okay, HCl is produced. So this HCl is helpful for the process of digestion. It converts the inactive form of enzyme into the active form, that is pepsinogen into pepsin, which acts on proteins and converts into peptones. During indigestion, excess amount of acid get releases, right? It may, okay, damage, or it may cause a damage to the walls of our stomach, and it leads to a condition called acidity. So at that situation, what we need to do? So how to neutralize the acidic condition in our stomach? So by using an antacid. So when we use an antacid, right, we can neutralize the acidic condition of our stomach. The next is self-defense by animals and plants, right? You might have got stuck by honeybee, right? Or you might have got stuck with the leaves of nettle plant. What do generally do when the honeybee gets stung to us? What happens? The area where it has got stung, okay, it gets pain and irritation. That is because of these animals and plants, they releases an acid called methanoic acid. So this methanoic acid creates irritation and pain. So how to get rid of this one? So by using a baking soda, right? So by using a baking soda, or by using a dog plant, right, the juice of a dog plant, we can get rid of that honeybee stung. Okay, is it clear? Now effect of pH. Soil requires, right, soil requires a healthy pH to grow, to have a crop production, okay, to have a crop production very good. What do we generally do? We use chemical fertilizers, we use natural fertilizers to increase the productivity in our soil. Okay, if a soil becomes more acidic or a more basic, what generally happens? The production of crop get decreases. So in order to prevent, when soil is more acidic or more basic, so we have to use certain substances like calcium oxide or calcium hydroxide. By using this, we can neutralize the pH of soil. So all these are the effects and the importance of pH in our daily life. It is also one of the important concept. Okay, now let us discuss how do we find the pH of salts. So we all know how salts are formed. Salts are formed by the combination of acid and base. It gives you salt and water. Now how do we find the pH of salts then? A family of salt. How do we identify a family of a salt? It's very interesting one. Okay, so here some of the salts are given: potassium sulfate, sodium sulfate, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, copper sulfate, ammonium chloride, sodium chloride, and potassium chloride. So here are the some of the list of salts are given, and you have to identify to which family these salts belongs. So before we identify to which family does it belongs, let us try to identify what are the acids and bases that are used to make this salt. Can you guess it, student? So here, when, as I said you, how salts are formed? Acid plus base gives you salt, right? So now we have to guess what are the acids and bases that are used. So the potassium, so it's a combination of acid plus base. If it is a sulfate, means if it is an SO4 in a salt, it means an acid used is sulfuric acid. If you find a chlorine, okay, it means hydrochloric acid is used. If you find carbonate, okay, carbonic acid. If you find nitrate, nitric acid, okay. So in that way you have to identify. So here what are the acids and bases that are used? The acid is nothing but sulfuric acid. The combination of sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide will give you a salt called potassium sulfate. So here it is a combination of, again, yes, sulfuric acid and sodium hydroxide, right? So copper sulfate, sorry, calcium sulfate, yes, it is again sulfuric acid plus calcium hydroxide, okay. Magnesium sulfate, again sulfuric acid plus magnesium hydroxide, okay. In the same way, okay, sulfuric acid plus copper hydroxide, okay. Ammonium chloride, chloride, now you can find Cl in the salt, it means acid uses hydrochloric acid plus ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH, right. If NaCl, okay, again we have a Cl, means, right, HCl and sodium hydroxide are used. Now we identify. So here are the what are the acids and bases that are used to form a salt, okay. Now the question, how do we find a family of these salts? In a salts, if you find, right, same positive or same negative ion radicals in a salt, then that gives you a family of a salt. In these I find, if I dissociate this salt, get dissociates into K plus and SO4 minus, SO4 2 minus. So this salt dissociates into Na plus and SO4 2 minus. So Ca 2 plus SO4 2 minus. So in these I find a SO4 2 minus negative radical as common. Then this salt is nothing but a sulfate salt. I will call it as what? Which family it belongs to? It belongs to sulfate family. Then what about this chlorine? Again the same, these two. What about these here? I find here ammonium chloride, NH4 plus Cl minus, Na plus Cl minus. In these I find chloride negative ions as common. So I call it as these as chloride family. So this is how, okay, the salt which have, okay, the salts which have the same positive or negative ion radical, that decides the family of a salt, okay. Is it clear? Now the next concept, how do we find pH of salt, right? Whenever there is a reaction between strong acid and weak base, the salt is nothing but acidic salt, okay. For acidic salt the pH value will be, yes, it is less than 7, right? If a reaction between strong acid and weak base, then we call it as acidic salt, then the pH value is less than 7, right? If the salt which is formed by the reaction of weak acid and strong base, okay, we call it as basic salt, its pH value is more than 7, right? If a reaction between strong acid and strong base, then we call it as neutral salt, pH value is equal to 7. This is how do we find a pH of salt, okay. So here let us try to fill this table example. 3 salts are given, so you have to find the pH of these salts and you have to identify which acid and a base is used. Now this sodium chloride, right, the salt called sodium chloride, it is obtained on reaction with NaOH and HCl. On reaction of NaOH and HCl, we get NaCl plus H2O. Now this NaCl is formed by the combination of strong acid and, okay, strong base and strong acid. Then I call this sodium chloride as neutral salt. If it is a neutral salt, what is the pH value? Is equal to 7. So what is the acid? Now you can name it. What is the acid that is used? HCl. What is the base that is used? NaOH. Is it clear, student? Yes. Next, ammonium chloride. So how do I find? So ammonium chloride, okay, is a salt which is formed by the combination of ammonium hydroxide plus, okay, chloride, hydrochloric acid, right? I'll get a salt called ammonium chloride. Now which salt should I call this? Yes, which salt should I call? This is a weak base and it is a strong acid. If a reaction between strong acid and weak base, it gives a salt called acidic salt. Now sodium ammonium chloride is an acidic salt. It is, the pH value is less than 7. So what is the acid that is used? HCl. What is the base that is used? NH4OH. Right? Is it clear, student? Now the next one. So acetic, okay, sodium acetate is a salt. Let us try to identify what is the pH of sodium acetate. Okay. So sodium acetate is formed by the reaction of NaOH, okay, NaOH aqueous plus CH3COOH. It is formed by the combination of strong base and weak acid. Acetic acid is a weak acid. Then I will get a salt called sodium acetate. Okay. Now this sodium acetate which is formed, it is called as basic salt. Why I am calling it as basic salt? Why? Because it is a combination of strong base and weak acid. The salt which is formed by the combination of strong base and weak acid, we call it as basic salt. If it is a basic salt, it is greater than 7. What is the acid that is used? CH3COOH. What is the base that is used? NaOH. Right, children? This is the concept about how do we find a pH of salt. I'll repeat again. If a salt that is formed on the reaction of strong acid and weak base, then the salt is acidic salt. For acidic salt, pH value is less than 7. Right? If a reaction between an acid and a base, that is weak acid and strong base, the salt is nothing but a basic salt. Its pH value is more than 7. The reaction between strong acid and strong base, it's a neutral salt. The pH value is equal to 7. This is how do we find the pH of salt. So now next, the compounds of salt. So what is salt? Salt is nothing but which is formed by the reaction of acid with base. The common salt that which we use nowadays today is sodium chloride. The next topic is compounds of salts. What are the compounds that are prepared from salt? Salt, that is common salt, sodium chloride. So what are the common compounds that are prepared from the sodium chloride that we are going to discuss now? Okay. So this salt, which is known as a table salt, okay, which is used to enhance the taste of a food, we use in our daily life. So these several compounds are prepared from the common salt. Those compounds are sodium hydroxide, bleaching powder, baking soda, washing soda. Okay, these are the compounds that are prepared from common salt. So in this topic we are going to study what are the uses of this compound and how they are prepared, which is very important. In the examination they will ask you uses and chemical formula of the salts. Okay, so let us start. The first salt that which is prepared is sodium hydroxide. So the compound called sodium hydroxide, it is prepared by a process called a chloroalkali process. So it is prepared by chloroalkali process. Okay, how it is prepared, let us discuss now. This sodium chloride on aqueous hydrolysis, it decomposes into sodium hydroxide, gives chlorine and hydrogen gas. Chlorine gas is obtained at anode, hydrogen gas is obtained at cathode. Near cathode, sodium hydroxide is formed. This is how sodium hydroxide is prepared. The sodium hydroxide so prepared, it have following uses. So it is used as degreasing metal, it is used in paper industry, it is used in soap and detergent industries, and it is used in making artificial fiber like rayon. So these are the uses of sodium hydroxide. Now let us move to the next compound, bleaching powder. The chlorine which is prepared, right, it is used for the preparation of bleaching powder. We all know, we have seen here, chlorine is obtained at anode. The chlorine is made to react with the slaked lime, calcium hydroxide. It is called slaked lime. The chlorine when reacts with the slaked lime, it gives you, okay, calcium hypochloride, that which we call it as bleaching powder. These bleaching powder have following uses. It is used as disinfecting of drinking water. It is used in bleaching of washed clothes. It is used in textile and linen industries, and also used in paper industry, bleaching of wood pulp. Okay, and it acts as oxidizing agent in chemical industries. Okay, and it is used as reagent in the preparation of chloroform. So these are the uses. They'll ask you uses in the examinations. It is very must. Okay. Now the next compound is baking soda, which is prepared from common salt. Okay. How it is prepared? Let us discuss now. So this baking soda is prepared on reaction of brine solution, that is aqueous sodium chloride with carbon dioxide and ammonia, will give you ammonium chloride and baking soda. Okay, this baking soda have following properties. So when baking soda is heated, it gives you carbon dioxide, water and sodium carbonate. So this is how the baking soda is prepared. So the baking soda which is prepared, it have following uses. Okay, it is used as ingredient in antacid. Okay, what is antacid? We have discussed in the effect of pH in daily life, right? To neutralize the acidic condition of stomach, we use an antacid. So soda acid fire extinguisher, right? So it is also used in making baking powder. So what is baking powder? Baking powder is mixture of baking soda and edible acid called tartaric acid. When baking soda and edible acid called tartaric acid, right, this is called baking powder. When it is heated, it gives carbon dioxide gas, right, which makes our bread and cake smooth and spongy. So this is what the use of baking powder. Okay, so these are the compound. Let us move into the another compound called, so this is the use of baking soda. Let us move into another compound of salt, washing soda. So how washing soda is prepared? So the next compound, fourth compound is washing soda. So the chemical formula of washing soda is Na2CO3 10H2O. Okay, so how it is prepared? Preparation. Okay, on heating baking soda, it gives you baking sodium carbonate. Okay, it gives you sodium carbonate and water. On recrystallization of sodium carbonate, will get washing soda, that is Na2CO3 10H2O. This is a preparation. So it is called as washing soda. So what are the uses of washing soda? When we talk about uses, so it have following uses. The first use of washing soda is, right, it is used in glass and paper industry. Okay. The second use, it is used in the preparation of a sodium compound called borax. It is used in the preparation of sodium compound called borax. Okay. It is used as cleaning agent for domestic purpose. We use as cleaning agent for domestic purpose. And the fourth use, it is used for the removing permanent hardness of water. So these are the following uses of compounds. Hope you have understood all this. Okay, so are the compounds of salts are very easy enough. What you have to learn? You have to concentrate on uses. Very, very important one. Okay, now let us move into the next topic, water of crystallization. So already we have discussed here. Okay, so if you want to know, okay, about water of crystallization in detail, you can watch my previous videos. Okay, I have prepared there a separate video for the water of crystallization and the plaster of Paris. Let us have a discussion here, so which is also an important concept. Okay, the next is water of crystallization. So what is water of crystallization? So water of crystallization is nothing but, okay, a fixed number of water molecules present in a unit formula of a salt is called water of crystallization. Water of crystallization, example of copper sulfate. When copper sulfate, the color of copper sulfate is blue, it is called hydrated salt. So in these we have 5 water molecules which are attached to the salt. Okay, when this copper sulfate is heated, okay, when this copper sulfate is heated, copper sulfate pentahydrate, it is heated, it give you CuSO4 5H2O. The water molecules which are attached to the salt, they get removed by heating. So by heating we can remove the water of crystallization. So the color of copper sulfate is blue in color. When you heat it, it turns into white in color. When you further cool it down, blue color reappears. Okay, so this we have an activity based explanation. Please go through that activity. So if you want to know more about it, please watch my previous video where I have explained with activity based explanation about water of crystallization. Okay, the next one, plaster of Paris. The next compound. Can you give an example of water of crystallization? Few more examples. We can take an example. Na2CO3. How many water molecules are present in this, student? Yes, 10 water molecules are present. So what is the water of crystallization for this salt? 10. So you can take CaSO4 2H2O. How many water molecules are present? 2. So 2 is the water of crystallization. Okay. So like that we have MgSO4 7H2O. So what is the water of crystallization for this salt? 7. Okay. Now the concept is very clear, right? Okay. Let us try to understand one more example. Okay. CaSO4 2H2O. It is called as gypsum. So water of crystallization for gypsum is 2. So here when CaSO4 2H2O gypsum, when it is heated at 373 Kelvin, right? Okay, it forms CaSO4 half H2O, right? That is nothing but a POP, plaster of Paris. Okay, so the chemical name of POP is calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Okay, in the examination they'll ask you what is the chemical formula of POP, plaster of Paris, right? It is called calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Okay, so this is how do we obtain POP, and always POP is stored in moisture proof container. Why? Because POP, when it mixes with water or when it comes in contact with the moisture, CuSO4 half H2O, when it comes in contact with water, again it forms a hard mass substance called gypsum. Okay, that is the reason why it is stored under moisture proof container. So what are the uses of this POP? We use this POP for different purpose in our daily life. So can you name those uses of POP? Yes, first one is used in making toys. The second one, it is making for decorative purpose, and the last very important one, right? You should be able to tell me. Whenever we get a fracture, whenever we get fractured our hand or leg, what we will do? We visit a doctor. What he applies to us? A plaster type he applies to us. That is nothing but POP. So it is used by doctor to fix bones at fixed position, right? Okay, it is used to fix bones at fixed positions. Okay, so these are the uses of plaster of Paris. So this is the concept about acid, bases and salt, a complete class. Okay, children. So you have understood this. Okay, do follow us. Okay, so in the next class we'll study about a chapter called chemical equations and reactions, where we'll discuss about that in detail. Okay, thank you, children. Have a good day.